colors, the reality of the matter left raw on the canvas that give body to a visible gesture and energy. The saturation of a space reinforced this force, this inner tension. Each creation of his introduced us to a magical world where the season of the soul replicate its passionate, melancholic, and violent potential that impacts on a large scale. Medium and large canvases that are supported by action, touch movement, speed in the rhyme that often flows freely without the interventions of true, but with a clear concern to build affinity. Zeballos now has been, right at this minute, he is in Lima, Peru. He's having a very exclusive exhibit in Lima, in the Museum of Lima. And this is my last artist. And now we are, as you can see, some of the pictures there from the exhibition and the opening we have here at the Arvin Gallery. And few other pieces, other pictures in Canada, which is this one, which was the first exhibit I did with the Colors of Peru. And that's, well, I wanted to do my closing, but I don't know if I do it before you guys ask me questions or after, or, yeah, I just wanted to mention that this is my first time doing this presentation in public in English. And more than I say yes, because I wanted to challenge myself, and I did, thanks to Marcy. I pushed myself because I usually, it's 15 minutes, this one 45 minutes, or maybe it's not 45 minutes. I thank you so much for you guys to listen. And I'm sorry about, my accent. I wish that I was, but anyway, next time I will do it in Spanish if you want. It's better for me. Anyway, I thank you to all. I want to, I know that he's not here, but like I say, I wanted to thank Marcy for letting me use the space of the Arvin. I'm very thankful for that. Thank you so much. And then also if it's gonna be recorded, I wanted to thank Mr. Joe Lopez. And he is the manager of Arvin International Affairs and Sister Cities. And also I wanted to thank my Aurelia Faulkner and Ariana Faulkner. Aurelia Faulkner, they both are my daughters. And Aurelia is my CEO of Terra Art, and Ariana is my marketing director of Terra Art. She's the one that did my PowerPoint. and I will never be able to do this without them, coming from other country, of course. It is important to highlight that it's necessary to learn and promote our culture through art, music, and writing. And that's what the focus of me doing this, because we teach many people to see other worlds, through the art. And as an artist, we need the help of everyone for this. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Does anybody have any questions or comments? And let me bring the microphone.
Oh, I wanted to show you guys this. It's a very nice video. I don't know what it is. I mean, can you see? It's off. Oh, why is off? Is that one? Where it was? Oh, where's my video? Yeah, I had a video. Oh, maybe it's this one. Oh, here it is. It's this one that I want you guys to see. It was from the first exhibit I did it here. Can you see it? How can I put it? So you can see the exhibit. It's a beautiful. It's too loud. There. Thank you. How do you make it? That's it. This video it was done in the Consulate of Peru in 2022. Oh, sorry. That's it. Thank you.
Hey
Hi.
there. Just a few comments. I think the Peruvian music would be a nice touch in the focus gallery at a low
Down.
volume. I'm sorry. I think the Peruvian music would
Too
be a
loud?
nice touch in the focus gallery.
Oh,
But I had a number of patrons talking about the Sabogal,
Joselito Sabogal. Yeah.
full front portrait of the woman.
Oh, yes.
They were very taken by that.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, the one on the far left.
Yeah.
there?
Yeah.
And a couple of them even compared it to the Mona Lisa, which is
Oh, really?
yeah.
And this is the Peruvian style Mona Lisa, I will say. It's darker. Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now another thing is that I noticed the abstract
Joselito.
is
talking
really
about-
universal.
Oh,
You know, abstract is abstract throughout the world.
yes.
And the other thing was the Borka.
Borka. Yes. Borka Sattler. Yes.
Yeah, the series, the metallic series.
On paper.
Yeah.
The pieces on
They
paper.
were the presentation, even with the frame
Oh, yes.
made the presentation, yeah.
Yes, they are a very unique pieces of that. We frame it that way to make it look, better, and
More metallic.
yes, 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 and her colors are very. It has a lot of the ones in the on paper has a lot of texture, and whatever she uses is I don't know is ¿cómo se llama esto? Gesso. Gesso. You know what gesso is?
Gesso?
Ah, sí, okay. It's in English too? Okay, thank you. It's, it's gesso. Perfect, thank you. Yes,
That's it?
thank you. It's more like a comment. Thank you, comments, I love. Questions? I don't.
I wanted to pick up on something that Quentin started with, and that's people's reactions to the art. We had a tour a couple of weeks ago, like 350 sixth graders, 400, and there was one kid who was not any taller than that lectern who saw Mr. Piscoya's work, and it's the work that has all of the figures and all of the symbols, and he knew every one of them. He knew that they were dancing. He knew that they were playing. Could you go to Mr.
Oh,
Piscoya's?
really? In this, he saw it here?
Yeah. Could you show Piscoya's?
Okay, Piscoya, yeah. He's asked, oh, I'm so sorry.
If you would show his images, the
Yes.
kid was a sixth grader, and he wasn't any taller than that lectern. And the middle image, the kind of brownish ochre one, he knew that they were dancing. He knew that they were playing flutes. He knew that the small figures across the top were planting, and he could identify that there were mythological animals in the painting. And one of the joys for me being a tour guide and a docent is that you never know how somebody's going to react to something. And the next day, we had our homeschoolers, and there was one young man in a homeschooler group who, going through all of the galleries, but in particular, when he was going through the Colors of Peru, he asked me, how do you do an abstract painting? And I told him, you just kind of have to sit down and do it and don't worry about it to begin with. He was maybe 13. He was the boy that we gave the calendar to, and he was enthralled by the process and the look, and both of them, they kind of went home almost sort of glowing inside, because it's what makes being a docent and working with people, especially the younger ones, and the boy in particular that could identify all of those symbols and what was going on in those three paintings. He just blew me away. Just blew me away.
And he was how old, you said?
He was 12, 13. He was a sixth grader, which made him 12 or 13. And he was, pardon the expression, kind of scrawny, and he wore glasses. But he knocked me out because he knew everything in those paintings. And for him to understand the iconography and the symbols, and, somebody told him, or he had studied them on his own or something. But that made me feel good.
Nice. That's
Anyone
very
else?
nice. Thank you.
Well, I was wondering about this particular
Artist?
exhibit here. They look almost like mythology or Sanskrit or something like that. I was wondering what the origin, what the mind of the painter was when he was painting these particular pieces. Is it something from mythology, or is it something?
Yeah, it's very mystic and
Yes.
mythology. His inspiration is, and his background is from that side of Peru, and it's pre-Columbian, and he is one of the Peruvian more native than all the other artists. So it's very iconic, I will say. And,
Yeah, they almost look like cave drawings,
yes, it's from
from-
the cave.
Yes.
Yes, of course, yes.
That young
And
man
even
that I
their
was
colors
talking
are,
about, the young man that I was talking about, he wanted to know if they were cave
Yeah,
paintings.
but they do look like cave paintings. That's what.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, from the caverns and things like that, Yeah, and he used to study and be, it was very profound, his studies in the time of the pre-Columbian times, and he did all these colors from trying to match the colors of that time. And that's what he usually does. And that's one of the reasons he's been very successful in all over the world, because the qualification of the way he used the colors, and he makes his own colors. He used natural materials, and etc. Even vegetables, fruits, like I said before, and it's very unique, I would
Yes.
say.
The other thing I wanted to ask about were the portraits of the women. Yes, and they look like ancient or Peruvian.
They all have that in common, but Joselito is a dreamer, and he's a native too, so that's what they have in common. All of the artists, if you can see, even if it's an abstract, even if it's figurative, you can see that on it. Pre-Columbian, the culture of the past, Mochica, Paracas,
Yes.
and Chimu, and all that. So you can see that in there.
Like they're,
so,
now, I don't know if they're called tribes or whatever they were called.
Yeah,
but because it looks like that was their headdress is very representative of the particular area or the tribe that they belong to.
Yes, and that's the common denominator of these artists from Colors of Peru. Yes.
Now the other one more is
Yes.
when we were looking at the female artist, the abstract. When I was giving a tour, there was a title on it, and it had to do with language, and we were trying to interpret the abstract meaning of that. Because if you see the title, she's talking about language in there, and I didn't exactly understand now the interpretation when we looked at it.
Oh yeah, she did this the titles in English, and she's was my language is in the sum of mis. I cannot see.
Mhm.
I cannot see there.
But that was
My language is the sum of myself.
yes, and we were trying to interpret the abstract painting in regard to the label.
Yeah. She named it that way, or maybe I misplaced the names when I put it on. I don't. But like I say, this series that she has right here is from the Corral. But I think this one that she named it like that is because she's that's the way she interprets. Interprets.
Yeah, interprets. Yes.
Interprets the scenery of what
Yes.
she saw in the city of Caral. And that's why you see that the texture, the rootness of the piece. Yeah, you will.
Yeah, I think she references pretty explicitly Incan or pre-Incan masonry work, the large cut stones that you see in
Yes.
Peru
Yes.
in the Incan cities as well as the pre-Inca sites. So when she was referencing the Chimu, the Paracas, those are all pre-Incan cultures.
Yes.
And there's a line a through line with all the architecture with this incredible masonry, these huge stones that are cut so perfectly and put together without any mortar. That is a real signature of architecture and of the ruins that you would see. And she uses those, she references that in her shapes and her paintings.
Yes.
And by using the gesso, I think replicates the texture of the stone.
Yes. Thank you, Marcy. Yes. It's very well. Very well. Thank you.
I just want to say I think you met the challenge. You did a very good job, and we thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Well, I was just going to comment about what 18 years ago we had the Peruvian gold exhibit from the
Here?
Smithsonian, and when I got the card or the announcement about this exhibit, Los Colores del Perú, I was interested to see if there's going to be a connection between these paintings and particularly the textiles that were in that ancient Peruvian exhibit. And there was that one textile that was at the very end of the gallery to the left of the doors. It had this bright red and all of these hundreds of little embroidered mythological figures in these bright colors. And it was interesting to see that the colors were still there. And then in these paintings by Mr. Piscoya, the same mythological creatures were there. So the connection was there. And one last comment, because I tend to talk too much anyway, but if you go to Peru today, and Marcy will verify this, if you go to Cusco, the native women walking around Cusco are wearing their indigenous outfits with these same colors. And I have read that textiles were invented in Peru before ceramics, and it's one of the few cultures where that happened. And you see women walking around Cusco in their indigenous clothing in these bright colors, and they're all spinning little whirls. They're all spinning
Well,
thread constantly, keeping their hands busy spinning thread to weave these things. So I was kind of personally looking for those connections.
Oh.
And I'll shut up.
So the exhibition Robert is referring to was Peruvian gold,
Oh, okay.
ancient treasures of Peru, and it really focused on the pre-Incan
Okay.
cultures.
But it was textile?
There were textiles. We had a lot of gold and silver, a lot of metal work, ceramics, a lot of textiles, and it was toured by National Geographic, and it was 10 years ago.
Oh my God.
It was just 10 years ago.
Oh my God. He's been doing this. Oh my God.
Right,
10
yeah.
years ago.
Yeah, but I think Lilia did reference that Piscoya is very inspired by the textiles, and so that he treats the canvas
He does.
a lot like fabric or yarn with using all the natural dyes and the naturally derived pigments for the painting, and a lot of those symbolic animal shapes, the iconography that you just referenced. Yeah, I will say I did have the opportunity to travel to Peru this past August.
Oh.
And
where
so,
you go? Lima.
Well, Lima and
Miraflores.
Cusco and Machu Picchu.
You did
So in traveling, you really run the whole gamut of all kinds of ecosystems and climates. You're down by the coast in Lima,
Yes.
and then you're in the mountains, and then you're in the rainforest, and it is truly a spectacularly beautiful country, so diverse and so beautiful, again, from the coast to the mountains to the rainforest. I mean, even just in the area around Machu Picchu, you were just, moving through several zones of ecosystems. And the people are also
microclimates, no?
Microclimates, yes.
Yes.
And you literally are. I mean, you're, in Cusco, is where the elevation, I think, is the highest. Not Machu Picchu, but the city of Cusco.
Yes.
And then you go through the microclimate of the tropical forest, and then you're up in the mountains again in Machu Picchu.
Yes. It's a very, Peru is a beautiful country. We have La Costa Sierra y Selva, like you say, the coast, the country, and the jungles of Peru. And it's very, I'm very happy that you visit, because then you can see, and feel all the whatever we showing in their paintings.
Right.
Yeah.
So I can see a lot of the influence of the color, light, and space, and a lot of the abstract painting, Zeballos, Arce.
Yes.
And then in Gomez, Lima is very urban and very built up, and so you have the ships
from
and
Lima,
the high rise,
the port. You know?
Yeah.
His pieces are very sometimes you look at it and think, it's like he said, they are boats with, but half of the boat, it's like somebody just got at the boat and show the pigmentation and the slide and the steps of the boat. How do you call that?
Cross section. Yes. Yeah. It's kind of a combination between a vessel and a building.
And that's the big pieces, but the smallest pieces of Gomez, you can see more in there. I love the little pieces, because you can see more like the waves of the water, more. And I see a more active piece, like, I don't know if you see that in the small piece.
I do.
Like, it's more like movement, you can see that. And the other ones are more like,
they're very monumental and stately and kind of foreboding a little bit too, because they kind of look like tenements as well.
Yes,
But I will say also, the people of Peru are very beautiful and very warm and welcoming and friendly.
Thank you.
And they love music and they love to dance. We went to
we love to dance. Yes.
Yes, the park, the cat park. Kennedy Park
Oh,
in Lima.
you went there.
Yeah, with a little amphitheater and the dancing.
Do you know that I live very close to the Kennedy Park, but on the
Do
other
you?
side? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of cats. Do you
Lot
went
of
to the
cats.
church?
Yes.
The beauty. It's a museum. It's a gallery there, a museum. You went there too?
Yes. I
In
think we're talking
close-
the Franciscan,
Sí.
yes,
I mean,
with
yes.
with the catacombs.
Yes.
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 Yeah, so I highly recommend it. Get yourself to South America, get yourself to Peru. It's really, really beautiful. But I will say, kind of the dancing in the park in Lima, I think it was just a weeknight.
Yeah.
And they were playing music, and it's this wonderful little sunken amphitheater. People were sitting up on the steps, and the dance floor was crowded, and it was all ages, all people.
I know.
And just such a joy for life.
And it's also in the Kennedy Park, they do paint. They show all their pieces of art, because it's not easy. So many artists, it's not easy to show in a gallery. It's not easy for them to do, that's one of the reasons I did the Terra Art, not because, I want to make money. No, because the art is because they don't know how to make it happen. And they don't know where, how, and that's what they do. They do it in the park. And people buy it from the park.
Yes, there were a
I
lot
even
of
bought it
artists
myself.
exhibiting.
I
Yeah.
bought it myself too, because we
Yeah.
have to support, the artists. And not many ones live from the art. Not many ones. Joselito does. Some of them, Borka does. Piscoya not too much, but it's a lot of different things, that happens. But I love this art, and if time will permit, I have many artists from all Latin America. You don't imagine what I have. I have a collection of Latin American art, which is Central. In South America, I have an Argentinian pieces that you will probably love. And it's Central America too, Honduras, and all these countries. They all have beautiful art in different ways. And even here, I have an artist in Buffalo in the United States. He's an African native, and he's in New York right now, and his pieces are very nice. So many, North America, Central America, we all have something nice in our countries and in our life, I hope. Mm-hmm.
Anybody else, questions or comments?
Thank you. I apologize, I was late, so maybe you covered some of this. But you're talking about Peruvian culture, right? The art is reflecting Peruvian culture. The picture.
Oh, they're all Peruvian artists, yes.
Okay, so as just an ignorant person of Peruvian art and someone going to the gallery, for example, this picture here, I believe you said this was metal, is that right? Because it almost looks to me as if it were glass with a translucence. And what, is this supposed to represent architecture?
I will say...
broken pottery, or what is it?
Well, you see, everybody sees, that's what the abstract is all about. Abstract is sometimes what you see is not what I see. But the main focus of this artist in this series is from the city of Caral. And like I say, the city of Caral has been discovered not too long ago, in 1994, and it's not very far away from Lima. I think it's 180 kilometers from Lima. And that's why she inspired herself. And that's what Marcy said already about it. Her pieces, she's trying to portray some rocks with a texture, lines, because the architectural in the city of Caral and all that. So
those colored pieces aren't really anything. They're not glass, they're not metal?
It's a paint. It's acrylic on canvas with the texture. Yeah, it looks shiny. It looks shiny. It's the light of the paint. Or what?
No, I'm not saying what is the material in the pictures. I'm saying what is it representing? Is it representing glass with light coming through it, or is it representing metal with reflection? I'm
you
puzzled
answer
to what this is and how it reflects to Peruvian culture. Pass it down.
Well, first and foremost, it's abstract art. So
That's
it
right.
represents what it is: shapes, lines, colors, brushstrokes, gesture. But as Lilia said, this particular artist for this series was inspired by the ruins, the city of
Caral.
Caral near Lima, discovering the ruins of a pre-Inca culture. So as we mentioned earlier, Peruvian architecture, Incan and pre-Incan architecture is known for its stone masonry, these huge, huge stones that were cut often with 6, 8, 13 different corners in kind of a show of virtuosity, and then joined together for structures without any mortar. So it's this kind of really spectacular method of construction. So those sort of square-like sections in her paintings are probably a reference to this Incan or pre-Incan stone masonry. But abstract art in and of itself is non-representational. It refers to the materials and the methods and the basic elements of art themselves. Again, color, line, shape, gesture, energy, movement. Does that help?
No, and as I look at those paintings from the point of view of being an architect who studied Inca and pre-Inca architecture, particularly Inca architecture, I can see those shapes as representing the clusters of buildings at, in particular, Inca sites. The buildings are almost always rectangular. They're grouped, and the groups sometimes around courtyards. But in particular, the one on the right, I can read it as a group of Inca or pre-Inca buildings. And I'll also make the comment that when we're talking about Peruvian culture, we all know that they were conquered by the Spanish in the mid-1500s. I won't get into that. I tend to preach. But I'll make the comment that culture in Peru is ancient. It goes back as far as anybody else you can imagine. And the more they study it, the further back they push that limit. And around the world, there are certain areas that are called centers of civilization. What am I trying to say? Cradles of civilization. The latest cradle of civilization to be designated in the world was Peru, particularly the west coast of Peru. And they almost always are located on rivers or water sources. They're very old, and they cluster, or they were created by rivers and agriculture. And we're talking about Egypt and Mesopotamia and China and India. And they're now beginning to even look at Mesoamerica, the Maya civilization, as being a cradle of civilization. Even though they don't have rivers, they have these marvelous underground river cavern systems that take place of rivers. So we're not talking about something that happened 200 or 300 years ago. We're talking about thousands of years ago, and it's a continuous stream of culture. It's an almost continuous stream of culture. There are symbols and gods and iconographies that date back thousands of years that all of the Peruvian cultures picked up on. They had the same gods, and almost, you almost look at it this way. If you think of Christianity being different, it's Christianity, but each part of the world had its own version of Christianity. Well, the Peruvian ancients had their gods, and these were passed down through thousands of years from culture to culture to culture. And again, these paintings by Mr. Piscoya were interesting to me because those are some of the iconographies and the gods and the animals and the symbols that I and this little boy saw in these paintings. So we're talking about something that's truly ancient.
Very nice. Thank you. Very nice. Thank you.
So, Lilia, you just pulled up an image for us of the city of Corral.
Corral. Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I discovered in
Yeah.
1994.
So that's the site that has inspired Borka
Yes.
Sattler with
Yes.
her series.
Yes.
Anyone else?
What?
I want to get away from the abstract for a minute and go back to the ships, that beautiful
Okay.
ships.
That's Gomez.
Yeah, and-
Jose Gomez.
Yeah, the ships that look like they're, really immersed in water.
Yes.
And were those actual scenes, I would imagine, that
Yes.
the artist was looking at, and this is something that,
Yes.
yeah, so these were not from the imagination.
No.
These were actual scenes that were painted.
Yes, ma'am.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's from the, yeah.
Mhm.
That's why the port, he born in Lima, but he was living in El Callao. El Callao is a port where all the ships, pass through and stay to transport some goods for other countries. Yeah. Mhm. Yes. Yes, yes. He called it por la ventana. That means from the window. It's like he's looking from the window of, the little window from the side, when yeah, that's the name of that one. Yes, yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcia. Commentaries on the architect. Now, I just want to point out, now that I know, and I've seen the pictures, of the architect, I have an idea of the inspiration, but not seeing the ignorance I am of the art itself. I'm puzzled by what I'm looking at. Now, I want to jump from that, the tutorial that I did, to Zeballos' art, right?
Zeballos. Sorry. Yeah. Oh.
And I'd like to know, is there inspiration that he has in mind that he's drawing that from? But if I knew that, I could understand that better.
Well, different artists interpret their pieces of art differently, even though are from the same idea of the culture. I mean, you can see on Zeballos the lining and the colors of ancestral colors and modern colors is a mix, because that's the way he inspired himself. So, and the profundity of the lines and the shadows and on the painting is also part of the selective artist that we say, because it's also part of the Peruvian culture. He is in their abstract pieces. So what is it, your question really? He is. Okay, you don't see the colors? What is he saying? I think with him. Oh, because you see, he is the only one that you can see that is, that you debate of if it is really our culture, because he's very a little modern, because his pieces are very modern. Like I say, he left Peru in 2014, which he went to Europe. But it's a mix of things. But he still have the Peruvian side, no matter where he is. And like I say, in their colors, in their lines, in their texture. I mean, we only see pictures, but you don't see it in front. Well, you can see it now in the gallery. So it is, maybe I will say 50-50. But but she can, the mic, oh, you need the mic, she needs a microphone, but I don't know if it's working. This working?
Interesting recording sounds like. I think I would just add that, of course, current day Peru, modern day Peru is just like anywhere else in the world, a conglomeration of its past and its present and its future. I mean, Peru is just as much of its Incan and pre-Incan times. I mean, the Incan Empire only lasted, 100 years?
Yes.
And the pre-Inca civilizations were more like thousands of years. But, the Spanish came over in the mid-1500s. So
Yes.
Peru has had hundreds of years of influence of the Western world, of Europe and the rest of the world. So it is a complete mixture of all these influences, and many of its cities, like Lima, are very modern and very urban and very built up.
And
so
one of the good examples that I can say is myself. I am a mix. I born in Peru. My mother is from Peru, but the father is from Italy, and my grandfather is from Spain. So that I look very native, but my grandmother was very native Indian. So this is what you have, the mix of everything. Is what they represent. The mix of everything is life, is everything. And where they are, where they grew up, where they are now. That's what it's all about. That's how I feel. That's how all the artists feel.
That's the Peruvian identity.
That's
is this
right.
huge, wonderful mix. Mestizo.
We have the Spanish with the Cholos, with the Indians. The Spanish with the blacks. That's the mulattoes. The Spanish, the mestizos are. I have a little bit of everything. So if you put me in a piece of canvas, that's what it is. Zeballos it's modern. It's a little bit of everything.
Right. Yeah, but those are more indigenous peoples. I mean, many people in Peru wear clothing just like you and I do. So again, it's that kind of that
people
mix.
like you guys with blue eyes, very white. My mother was very white, and I am too. But it's not the coastal of Peru is this side, and it's a little darker, and you can see the Indian. I have Indian too, but I mix, But it's beautiful though. That's the main thing.
Yeah,
that's what the canvas are.
So I think, style-wise, you're seeing, European influence of abstract painting.
Yeah.
Just like abstract painting came to the United States from Europe. You're just seeing a more, a more Western European tradition in which this artist chooses to paint and to engage with. Lilia did mention the colors, and the colors are very vibrant. If you're looking at the landscape, the textiles, a lot of the more traditional.
You saw in Cusco, You see all these skirts that they wear with all these netting things that they use with these powerful colors, and that's what it's all about. The colors. That's the way artists show in their canvas. They show with their colors or with their whatever, everything they do. Anyway.
Greg, what I said earlier before you came, my interpretation is that abstract is universal.
Mm-hmm.
You could easily say that the one on the left was done by an artist in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's a matter of their self-expression in an abstract form. So.
Yeah.
Who wanted to speak? Okay, I just want to make one Okay, just want to make one comment about these abstract paintings. When we were doing a tour, some people commented, going back to textiles, that these would be beautiful on a blouse or a gown or something that was a piece of clothing. So I think this is very representative of
Yeah, it
of the
will be very nice
textiles
to
that
have-
originated. Yes.
Yeah, it will be very nice to have a dress with the colors, isn't it? It's beautiful. Some artists do. You know, do you saw, Marcy? Some artists they doing now some shawls with with their own pieces of art. Yes, some ones do. Oh,
Okay. Thank you for all of that. Okay, going from the abstract back to those portraits of those three women. Can you tell me about the headdresses? Are those of the Incan period, or are they after the conquistadors? And who are these women? Are they princesses or
no,
royalty?
it's all Joselito's imagination. And it's all his imagination. Like I asked him the same question: is that your daughter? Is that in the an Indian, an Arab? You saw it in you saw it in a magazine? He says no. He has that in his imagination. But of course, is you can see, the nose and all that. I mean, Joselito is a native from Peru, and you can see in the picture. So he is with his pieces of faces. He has a native pictures of people. I mean, they are not a specific person. That's the way he represents the culture, of course, too. But it's very native, though. Native, yes. Excuse me? What about what? The head?
Would you
Well,
comment on the
but
headdresses?
you see, it's so, of course, it's from the Inca cultures. And
Okay,
like
that's
I say,
authentic.
It was the Paracas, Chimu. It's like this beautiful, everybody talk about the beautiful